the Holy Land. A 2016 biblical journey.
One of the things we often hear is in Israel, most of the Jews say that it's not Yahweh, that it's Jehovah or some other myth. And you live in Israel, you've lived in Israel for many, many years. Is that true? Do the Jews in Israel support Yehovah? Do the Jews reject this name Yahweh that we use?
It's absolutely not. And let me tell you, in my 20 years there, we lived in the old city of Jerusalem for about 5.5 years. I met many rabbis over there, used to go and have conversations with them, know many, many archaeologists, scholars from the universities, tour guides that work with us. So over the years, I literally hundreds, if not thousands of people in the academic world that I've met. And of course, not universally, but I would say well overall, more than 50 to 60% of the people there believe the name is Yahweh. And when I say that, that's pretty high, because remember, the Jews don't use the name. So a lot of people just say, it's not that they don't believe it's Yahweh, they just say we don't know. But there's at least 50 to 60% of the people that absolutely believe it's Yahweh, and maybe another 20% that will say it probably is, but we can't be sure. And I don't know if I've ever met anybody that uses the name Jehovah or Yehovah, because it's so nonsensical to use that name.
Well, this is Pastor Randy from the land of Israel. We are in the city of Jerusalem. Beautiful, beautiful place at a park near the old city Jerusalem. I have a very special guest with me today, Elder Don Esposito. And Don, today I want to talk about something very specific, and that is the name Yehovah. It's becoming more and more popular within the U.S. Many people believe that this is the name of our Father in heaven, and you say, no, it's not. Yes. And you have evidence to support this. So I know it's from the Aleppo Codex, and you have some information about the Aleppo Codex specifically, as it pertains to the name of Yahweh, YHWH, Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. So help us understand why you believe that the pronunciation Yehovah is not correct.
Okay. First of all, it's well documented, and we'll give the sources when we end here. It's well documented that the rabbis in the 6th to 10th century, when they were starting to put the vowel pointing, because before that there's no vowel pointing in any of the texts, that because they didn't want someone to inadvertently say the name Yahweh, that they took the vowels from Adonai and put those vowels into the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. So that's a fact.
And that's where we get Jehovah.
Exactly. Jehovah or Yehovah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that's coming. So that's where that comes from. Now, you basically have two codexes that come from the vowel pointing era, and that's the Masoretic text, which is the received text of Judaism in almost everybody. And then there's a second text called the Aleppo Codex. The Aleppo Codex coming from Aleppo, Lebanon, where the problems are going on today. That's where the Codex was written, and it's a good text. Not that it's a bad text, but what happened was a few people that actually got their hands on the text, they started looking at this text, and they found that it is very similar to the Masoretic text in many ways, and that the same vowel pointing that the rabbis did, that we know they admit that incorrectly vowel pointed to Adonai, but they're out of the 6,823 times that the Tetragrammaton or the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is there, it's vowel pointed to Yehovah 50 times out of that. So this crazy theory that came up that really doesn't have any premise or basis of evidence for it.
And there's no other documents that support Yehovah, is that correct? It's
Absolutely
just the
not.
Aleppo Codex. It's just those 50 instances out of 7,000.
Absolutely, you're right. If you look into all the ancient text, all the ancient documents, everything written by Judaism, like I said, we'll go over a few of these here in a minute, everything says the name is Yahweh. That's where everything, and personally I've been blessed being here, that I've had the opportunity to know some very high rabbis and priests.
And how long have you been here in Israel?
20 years.
20 years. So that's a long time.
Very long time.
Good experience.
And even the Samaritan priests, who are Levites, they've done DNA, they're Levites. They're the only priests that have never left the land of Israel. So they're not like the other ones that are here that came back later. And we asked the priest clearly, is the name Yahweh? And he said, yes, it is.
Matter of fact, it reminds me, you've been a tour guide here in Israel, and our archaeologist we had with us, I won't mention his name out of respect, but his wife is a Yemenite Jew, and I had the opportunity while on Mount Carmel to ask him, is the way Don pronounces the name, is that correct? And he says, yes. And he went on to say this, which I found really fascinating. He said, based on my Yemenite wife, which we know Yemenite is the oldest form of Hebrew, he says, based on my Yemenite wife and how she would pronounce the name is exact.
Yes.
And I was just amazed. Number one, that he confirmed that, being a Jew, because most Jews won't. And two, that we had the opportunity not to hear just from any Jew, but from a 30-year archaeologist married to a Yemenite wife, a woman. I mean, it's just incredible. In my mind, validation of the name Yahweh. So, we know the name is Yahweh.
Yes.
Anyway, share with us some evidence for Yahweh's name.
Yeah, let me read a few of these, because there could be thousands upon thousands of people that will see this, that it isn't just our opinion, but this is actually from Judaism from the very beginning. This is coming from Webster's Collegiate Dictionary. It says Yehovah, or Jehovah, is a false reading of the Hebrew Yahweh. That's from 1973 edition. Encyclopedia Americana, Yehovah or Jehovah, erroneous form of the name of the Elohim of Israel. That's coming from 1972, volume 16. Encyclopedia Britannica, the Masoretics who from the 6th to the 10th century worked to reproduce the original text of the Hebrew Bible, replaced the vowels of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh with the vowel signs of Adonai or Elohim. Thus the artificial name Yehovah came into being. That's also from the New Encyclopedia Britannica, 1993.
Now, does that say Jehovah or Yehovah in the actual reference?
Yeah, in the English they're putting Jehovah, but Yehovah is the same.
And it is the same, and I want to make that point. There's some that say, or it doesn't say Yehovah, but J is not in Hebrew.
Yes.
They would have had Yehovah. So that's an important point. I just wanted to make sure so our viewers realize that even though you're saying Yehovah and it says Jehovah, it's the same thing.
It's the
because,
same.
Again, Hebrew does not have a J sound.
Yes. And in English, if you go into the original King James Bible from 1607, 1611, when you saw the J, you'd be saying Yah.
Yes.
There
As a matter of fact, the original 1611 King James had no J.
Yes, it didn't even have a J.
It was an I.
But when the J came in, interesting enough, in German today, our brethren that are in Germany, when you see the word Joel, Joel, we would say, they say Yoel. In German language today, which the Ashkenazis come from, the J is still a Y. So that's why you're right. When you're saying Jehovah or Yehovah, it's
same thing.
Absolutely the same thing. This is the Jewish Encyclopedia now. Yehovah or Jehovah, a mispronunciation of the Hebrew Yahweh, the name of Elohim. The pronunciation of Jehovah or Yehovah is grammatically impossible.
That's amazing.
Which is another thing. And remember, in Hebrew, the word Hova means ruin or destruction,
mischief.
right?
I think mischief is in it, but yeah, absolutely. The other thing, just real quickly, and maybe because time, the V or the Vav, I don't think we've mentioned that just yet, but that was added. That was Ashkenazi influence.
Yes.
The Sephardic Jews, the Yemenite Jews, they still use the Wa, or the W, not the V. So that's another point, that Yahweh or Yehovah, the Vav or the V is not correct based on Hebrew grammar.
And actually, the Ashkenazis also use the Wa. They know from biblical Hebrew, they know it's Wa. Nobody doubts
absolutely.
that.
Yeah, I have a biblical program.
Yeah, even Ashkenazis, they'll say that. So even though in modern Hebrew, they use the Vav, everybody, as a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever met someone here in Israel that's a scholar that ever debated that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you for sharing everything you did with us, because it really is important for people to realize that our Father in heaven has it. Matter of fact, I wanted to read something just real quick here. This is from Acts. As a matter of fact, it's a quote from Joel 2, but I'm going to read from Acts 2, verse 21. This is Peter speaking. He says, "And it shall come to pass that whoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be saved."
Yes.
This shows, and this is one of many, many, I mean, we could go all day long looking at the importance of Yahweh's name. This is just one of many passages showing the importance. And this is why it's important to get it right, though.
Yes.
And this Yehovah, as you said, is an impossibility within the Hebrew.
Yes.
Even within the original English. And what many people don't realize is that J was the last letter to be added to the English alphabet. So, again, it's just not right. And we would encourage anybody debating this name to really look into it, because it's an important maybe the most important. I don't know what you think, but I think the name of our Father in heaven is maybe the most important aspect of our worship.
Absolutely. And there's 68 references in the Tanakh where the shortened form Yah is used. So we know it's Yah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not Yeh, it's Yah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, I'd like to thank you. And again, it's been a pleasure being with you in the Holy Land. And just for our viewers, we're right near the city, old city of Jerusalem, in a park, beautiful park. Very important site, but I'll let you talk about that later. But I'd like to thank you for watching this short program. I pray that it's been a blessing to you. And again, we would encourage you to look into Yehovah if you believe this and realize that this is not a name we find within Hebrew or Greek. Certainly not within English. It's an impossibility, as Elder Don stated, and we would just encourage you to look into it because, again, our Father's name is very, very important. It's vital to our worship, and this is something we can't get wrong. So I pray that it's been a blessing to you, and thank you for watching, and may Yahweh bless you. Bye-bye.